Hey everyone, it is so nice to have you all here. I am so happy to be here with you today, and I would love to just get a sense for where everyone is calling in from. Maybe you could just write in the chat and let me know. Dubai, cool. Cincinnati, amazing. Welcome. Okay. Ooh, UK, amazing. Awesome. Amazing. Toronto, love it. I am really excited to share with you today all my goodies, and we're going to get into some stuff. And I just want to know how everyone's feeling right now. Maybe you could just pop in the chat. Maybe give me one word on how you're feeling. Tired, fatigued, stressed. Uncertain. Yeah. What else? Fatigued, stressed. Okay. Awesome. Well, you're in the right place. So I'm here to teach you to just share a new perspective around stress and what it means to live alive. This is my word, aliveness. I am a big believer in the experience of aliveness, and mastering calm and reducing stress is just a big part of the experience of aliveness. And so my intention today is to share with you a, a fresh roadmap that includes the 5 things that you need to pay attention to cultivate aliveness and to reduce your everyday stress. And we're going to do a powerful practice together at the end that you can do every day, as many times as you want, to help you calm that chaos. So I'm also going to be sharing some details about my program at the end of our time together today. It starts in September. And so this is my offer to you if you're being called to work on reducing your stress and shifting your relationship with stress. So you're welcome to write in the chat as we go. You're welcome to raise your hand as we go. We'll be stopping throughout, and I'll be asking questions and giving you an opportunity to share. So before we kick off, I would love to know from you, what does the word aliveness mean to you? I want you to just take a quick moment and think about this for yourself and just share in the chat. You can also say it out loud, but sometimes it's easier to just share it in the chat. So what does the word aliveness mean to you? And it might be a word that you're not necessarily used to using or you haven't really thought about, but take a moment. Okay, it's when I'm feeling energized and fully open to life, when I'm not feeling worried so much about everything and I can go through life as me. Nice. When I feel at ease with myself and I don't have to worry about all the things I worry about. Yeah. Amazing. Well, I'm going to share my screen now, and we're going to kick into this. And I love all the things that you've shared here right now. So just give me a second here and let me share. Where's my share screen? There it is. Okay. So my perspective on aliveness is best expressed through this quote. And there's nothing like quoting yourself in your own workshop. But in the spirit of not just regurgitating what you've already heard from everyone else, I thought I'd just give you the gift of my own perspective. And so my body of work and my guiding philosophy can be summarized in these words. Being alive is a privilege, but feeling truly alive is a skill. And so while we can all acknowledge that life is this beautiful, precious gift, and we all know that to be true, experiencing it fully and meaningfully requires cultivation and skill. And so for me, aliveness means feeling deeply connected from the inside out, as a lot of you have been alluding to. It's embracing everything that comes in and everything that goes out, and being able to skillfully navigate all of those flows of energy that come in and out constantly all day long, while still staying in communion with the outside world. Now that's not easy. So I don't numb, I don't escape, I don't have to go into a frenzy. There's no push or pull. And so I call this a deep bouncing in. And that process of bouncing in to all of it all the time and being able to skillfully navigate all of that requires cultivation. And this is really where my work lives. It's about helping you develop those core habits and mindset and skills and practices to bounce in so that you can feel fully alive and not succumb to stress. So I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into all of this. But first of all, a little bit about me, because some of you don't know anything about me. So I'm Alexandra Howard, and I am a reformed people pleaser who overcame a big bad habit of dimming her spark to keep others happy. Yep, that was me for a very long time. And now I'm on this mission to create an enlivened world where I believe everyone needs to live in their zone of aliveness. And that's my mission. And so I have been I spent over 15 years transforming struggles into breakthroughs. I'm a certified transformational coach, a mindfulness teacher, and a speaker. And I specialize in habit change and in stress resilience. And I am a founder and CEO of my own global coaching business called Mind Mood Alive. And I'm also creator of Zone of Aliveness, which is an energy management system for vibrant living. And I'm going to share a little bit about that today. I also am the co-lead and I co-run a charitable project with my mother, actually. It is a family-based organization in Kenya, and we help over 100 vulnerable kids achieve self-reliance through education. And this really, I've been doing this now for about 18 years, and it's really informed a lot about a lot around my work and help to build my own perspectives around what it means to be resilient and alive. I'm hired by companies and nonprofits. I work with athletes, students, creatives, executives, and entrepreneurs. So I, along my journey, have met some incredible people, probably just like you. But these guys on this screen have guided my journey. And I'm kind of one of those people that I don't have I don't have shiny object syndrome. I don't kind of go with different people. I have like my people. I study from them. I learn from them. I work with them directly, and and then it helps. It informs a lot of around my own personal life and also my professional life. So here I have my coaching masters, Stacy and Carrie. The two women on the screen, they taught me everything I need to know about becoming a master of transformational coaching. We've got Dr. Dan Siegel, who's probably the only real like famous person on here that you might know. He is the godfather of Mindsight, and he's a remarkable man. And Dr. Trevaux, who's on the other side, in the forest, he is a very, very powerful influence in my life and teacher, who teaches me everything I need to know about the brain and the mind and relationships and the interconnection between all of those. Dr. Dan Engel on the other side, he is an amazing sort of pioneer of psychedelic medicine, and a very, very powerful mentor around the transformational process as well. And the guy in the middle, I want you to bring your attention to this guy in the middle with the beads. And, this guy, his name is Dr. Um, Pauvin, Arnaud Pauvin. He used to be a doctor surgeon in Chicago, and he became a Buddhist monk or Zen Buddhist. And he's been practicing for a long time. But this guy here, he is really, he was he was the guy who really changed my life. It was like a before and after Arnaud. Before Arnaud, I was like a hot mess. I mean, I really was a hot mess. And after Arnaud is when everything for me started to change. And Arnaud, I was not doing very well. One day, I decided that enough was enough and I was going to change the direction of my life. And I didn't know where to start. I just knew I didn't want to be where I was. I knew that I was under extraordinary amounts of chronic stress, and it just wasn't good for me, and I could feel that. And so I called this guy up out of nowhere. I did a random Google search. I I was living in Oakville, Ontario at the time in Canada, outside of Toronto, and I Googled this guy. I was like, Zen Master Oakville, and this guy pops up. And I call him up randomly out of nowhere. And I said, I'm in trouble. I need help. And he said, no problem. Come to my house at 2 o'clock today. And I was like, okay. So I go over there, 2 o'clock, and there's all these little shoes in the front entrance. And then I step forward into his house, and I'm thinking, this is crazy. Who does this? But I saw shoes. So I was like, okay. I go down to the basement, this dim basement, and there are about 6 people and Arnaud. And everyone's sitting. And then I ended up sitting there for an hour and a half doing a meditation. And I swear to God, this meditation for an hour and a half, first time ever, I didn't even know meditation was a thing and never heard of it before. Really, I didn't. So I sat there for an hour and a half, and I can tell you unequivocally that I thought I was going to die. I thought my head was going to explode. I thought my body was going to explode. I was completely, I thought I had no idea what the heck was happening. And it was interesting for me because this is the first time ever that I realized, one, I had an inner life. I had thoughts, I had emotions, I had feelings, I had sensations. Two, that it was all happening already, whether I liked it or not. It was already happening. Everything was all there and all happening. And three, I had no clue what to do with any of it. It was all spitfiring, all going crazy. I had no idea what to do with it. And the fourth thing that I really realized in this hour and a half is that my inner life, all of this that was happening in here, was really connected to my outer life. I felt compulsions, I felt the urges, I felt impulses. And I was like, wow, like literally, wow, I had no clue. And this was the first time that I came face to face with awareness. Not because I was stupid and incapable before, but like I genuinely didn't know that awareness was a thing. I didn't know that it was an option. And this is really important because autopilot, this non-awareness mode, is how most of us move through life. So check this out. Here is what's moving through you every single day, every second of every single day. The brain processes up to 70,000 thoughts a day, which activates thousands of spontaneous memories, hundreds of thousands of sensations. And imagine that, right? The body is an open, complex system. It's moving all the time. So hundreds of thousands of sensations. That's not a joke. Up to 27 feelings and emotions we can feel up in any given day. And 35,000 decisions, whether they're conscious or unconscious, like, grabbing this here is a decision. Putting it down is a decision. What I'm going to say is a decision. How I'm going to share what I'm sharing today is a decision. Every single thing is a decision. So 35,000 decisions. And get this, the mind wanders 47% of waking hours. Mind is wandering half of the time that we're awake. And there's studies to show all of this, so I'm summarizing. But this is important. 80% of what moves through you tends to be negative, and 95% is repetitive. And my moment in that basement supports this 150%. So now let's juxtapose that with what's happening in our outer life. So what is happening in our outer life is something along these lines. We consume an average of 7 hours a day using our screens. 34 gigabytes of information. We receive around 94 messages on text, on SMS, and notifications, on pings, whatever the case might be. The average task switching is 566 times. Now, when I first heard this, I was like, okay, that seems really high. But then I broke it down. I did the math on it, and it's 1 time per minute. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's huge. We consume over 10 hours of media. We check our phones anywhere from 47 to 80 times. This is a great exercise to see if this is actually true. But I broke that down as well, and I was like, yep. Exposed to 4,000 to 10,000 ads a day, depending on how much you're online. And we have about 27 average conversations in a day with varying states of pressure and demands and requests. This is a 30-fold increase in digital data over the past 10 years and a 70% increase in daily screen time. So we are massively, massively overstimulated. And guess what happens? When we have an autopilot inner life plus an overstimulated outer life, this equals chronic stress as your way of life. Take a minute to take that in, because this is really important. An autopilot inner life plus an overstimulated outer life equals chronic stress as your way of life. And this is exactly why I crashed and burned. And maybe you're here today because you're kind of crashing and burning too, possibly, right? You're having the same experience. It's too much. You can't cope. And chronic stress, when it goes on for too long, is really dangerous. It is a state of dis-ease. We're never at ease. It's a state of disconnection. We don't feel connected with ourselves and the world around us. So the nervous system, the brain, is constantly being hijacked. It's constantly in fight, flight, or freeze all day long. And what happens in chronic stress is we really don't know how to, our brains can't tell the difference between what's real and what's fiction. It doesn't know. It just thinks all of it is a danger and everything is at risk. And we go through our entire days feeling this, and it's exhausting. So we just stay at war. We're always at war. And this becomes our operating system, our de facto operating system. And this is why I'm doing this work, because this is not okay. This is very, very dangerous. And we're teaching this operating system to our kids. So if we're experiencing this, guess what? Our kids are experiencing it too, because that's what they're learning from us. 75% to 90% of all doctor visits are for stress-related ailments and complaints. This is according to the American Institute of Stress. Yikes. So what happens when we're chronically stressed? We just want out. We are like, no, I can't. I need out, right? And who wouldn't? This is just normal. This is natural. There's nothing untoward about this. This is what we do. We want temporary refuge. We want comfort. We want some ease. We want some safety. We want just some love for a moment. It's just all so hard all the time. So we just need a break. And we seek to numb out. We seek to escape. And these are things that we may or may not be doing ourselves. And there's no judgment here, right? Because when we don't have a replacement, we continue doing what's been working. So this is not your fault. We have to work on creating replacements so that we expand our menu of choice. And that's what we want to talk today about. And, you know, I have a few private clients who come to me, and one of them, just so you know, in case you're like, oh my God, I am the only one that is engaging in dysfunctional behaviors and coping behaviors. No, you're not. I had a guy come to me who he used to punch holes in his wall in his garage as a way of outletting and as a way of coping. And he would feel terrible, and then he'd have to spend his weekend, fixing the walls so his family wouldn't know he was doing it. But and several other clients come to me. I had another woman who came to me, and she was in such angst, and she had kind of lost her voice so much that she almost threw a chair at her partner. Not because she's aggressive and because she's but it's just like she had no replacement for the level of stress that she was feeling. So what's really, really important about this is that when we are in chronic stress, when we live in chronic stress as our operating system, as our de facto way of life, we lose access to one thing, and that's choice. We lose access to choice. And when we lose access to choice, guess what? We live in the 5 R's. The 5 R's are run down, rigid, right? We feel closed. We feel judgy. We're hard on ourselves. We're hard on other people. We're stiff, literally stiff. You might feel that in your body. We're ruminating. We're either in the past or we're in the future. We're worried. We might have regrets. We're rehashing things that happened in the past. We're all about what ifs. Like, what if this, what if that? It's all catastrophe. We're restless, we're fidgety, we're indecisive, maybe untrusting. We're not really sure we're not really trusting ourselves. We're not really trusting in others and in the world. And we're reactive. We're angry. We're irritated. We're explosive. And that's what was happening to my clients. I'm just reactive. There was no other way that they knew how. And when we live in the 5 R's of chronic stress, we make poor choices. our connection is weak and our contribution is low. We're not optimizing contribution, right? And life becomes more about what's being done to us. By contrast, we experience the 5 C's when we are living out of chronic stress and we're living fully alive. So let's talk about that for a moment. This is a state of expansion, right? Where the 5 R's are a state of contraction, right? Everything is shrinking. The 5 C's is a state of expansion where everything is feeling possible and hopeful. And our menu of choice expands back out, right? So this is the same body, same mind, same energy systems, but just a radically different experience of life in the 5 C's. We're confident, we're energized, we're ready to go. We're curious, we're open, we're accepting, we're transparent, we're unfiltered. We're calm, our mind is quiet, we're present, we're able to stay in one thing at a time in whatever's in front of us and be with that, be available for that. We're courageous, we're trusting of ourselves, of our life force, of our wisdom, of our knowing. We're trusting of others. And we get out in the world and we can be courageous and speak our truth. And we're compassionate. We put ourselves in other people's shoes. We can attune to ourselves and to other people, can appreciate. When we live in the 5 C's, we make better choices. We have a stronger connection to ourselves, a stronger connection to the world around us, and our contribution is optimized. We have a greater impact out in the world. So I just want to stop for a minute and ask if anybody has any questions. So if you do, hold on to those for a moment. But I really want to ask, where do you spend most of your time? Do you spend most of your time in the 5 R's? Do you spend most of your time in the 5 C's? So you can write it in the chat and yeah, in the 5 R's. Okay. The 5 R's. Okay, so it's pretty across the board, everybody in the 5 R's. A couple crossovers in the 5 C's, which is great. And that's a good thing to notice as well, because here's the thing. We're not trying to get rid of the 5 R's in our work. The work of aliveness is not getting rid of the 5 R's. What we want to do is skillfully navigate away from the 5 R's and be able to live in the 5 C's. But you're never going to get rid of the 5 R's. It's always going to be there. So we don't want to get stuck in the 5 R's. That is what is of most importance to take home and to seal in. Good health and well-being is about not getting stuck in chronic stress. You're always going to feel some element of it. It's always going to be there on some level, but can you skillfully navigate away from it and come back into the 5 C's? So sometimes people get that a little bit confused and they think they're trying to get rid of things or, not have it anymore or change it. That's not what we're doing here. We're navigating skillfully away from it and towards something else. Okay. So the $1 million question, everybody, is how do we cultivate the 5 C's? How do we get into this column? How do we navigate into this column? So here's the 5 C secret. Choose the right thing, do it at the right time, stick to it the right way for you. And I say for you because what you choose and when you do it and how you stick to it is going to be different for everybody. And this is part of the work. You have to know what works for you. And sometimes we just think, well, it works for Joe Blow over here, so it must work for me as well. And the answer to that is no, it will not. And your work is to understand how you work and what works for you. That's really powerful and important. And when we do this really well, this is what I call living in your zone of aliveness. This is the zone that we want to live in. It's the 5C zone. This is it. And we know how to move our way in this zone and stay in the current, as I call it, not resisting it, but swimming with the current. So, and the reason, going back to my quote at the beginning, is that feeling alive is a skill. This is a skill. We need to learn how to do this. So I want to take you through my 5 key zones of aliveness. Okay. I promised you that I would share with you what we need to focus on, the 5 things that we need to focus on. Okay. So we're going to walk through these 5 things, and then we're going to tease out one of them, and we're going to do a practice. Okay. So this is the roadmap. This is the Zone of Aliveness roadmap. And this is how we create a custom path, your custom path of habits and practices and skills, right? To navigate away from the 5 R's toward the 5 C's. And we're going to use the 5 Z's, the 5 zones. So, and this is really the crux of my Zone of Aliveness program that's starting in September. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about it at the end. And don't worry, I'm going to also send you a PDF of all of this at the end, along with the recording. So you're going to be able to see how this works and apply it in your own life. But let's walk through this together one by one. Okay. And as we go, I want you to pay attention to your relationship with each zone. So what do you feel you do well? Which zone do you do well? And what do you possibly neglect? Or what do you feel challenged with? Or maybe what confuses you? So I want to check in at the end, but that's what I want you to pay attention to as we go through this. So the first zone is your body energy. And it's the habit of keeping an active body that eats clean, that moves easy, that sleeps soundly, and that hydrates. This is how we move from run down from the first R to the first C, confident. And the skill here is really prioritizing your self-care. This is the building block of your organism. And we forget this. It is absolutely vital that we eat, move, sleep, and hydrate. And if we don't, we will always feel run down on some level. So this is powerful and important. Now, how you eat, how you move, how you sleep, what rituals you put into place, that is all up for negotiation. And that is your expression. And that is doing it at the right time and the right way for you. And that's what we work on in our program. Second thing is a loving heart. This is our mood energy, our emotional energy. And it's the habit of nurturing a loving heart that rests, that releases and reflects. And this is how we move from being rigid, our second R, to curious, our second C, where we engage the curiosity and we get out of judgment. We get out of this constant spin cycle of being so hard on ourselves and on others. And the skill here is really about allowing and letting be. Really hard to do. So I call it a skill. The third is our mind energy. It's our mental energy. So much of our energy is spent in here. So much. And this is why you're here, is to master calm. And this is our third C. And we build the habit of an intentional mind that is present and focused, that has goals, that knows where it's going, that can stay in each step, that is present, that is not ruminating in the past, is not ruminating in the future. And the big skill here is to be with what is. Training attention to be with what is. That's the skill. The fourth zone is our soul energy. And our soul energy is all about building the habit of cultivating a vital spirit that is guided by purpose and passion and play. And we move from our fourth R, restless, to our fourth C, courageous. And this is where we build the skill of trusting in our life force. And this one is so important that I think sometimes gets very neglected. But it's so important to trust in our life force, because it's what allows us to get out in the world and do what matters most. Get out of our heads. Get out of our judgments. The fifth one is easy relationships, and it's connected to our people energy, which is a humongous area. I could do a whole workshop on this alone, but it is 100% one of the most powerful and important zones, because ultimately we are all in relationship with ourselves, with others in the world. That's it. That's all there is. It's all relational. So we develop the habit of enjoying easy relationships that attune and appreciate ourselves, others, and the world. So the work here, the skill here, is responding and not reacting. And we move out of our fifth R, reactive, to our fifth C, compassionate. And I want you to notice now, as we've got our 5 Z's on the screen, is how interdependent and interconnected all 5 of these are. They don't operate in silos, and that's what we tend to do in our everyday lives. We operate in silos. You know, we don't really have a whole orientation of what it means to feel alive and to be able to not succumb to stress. And so The more these zones are online, the better and more connected we feel. So I'm going to give you an example of that. So I ballroom dance. And every time I go to my ballroom dance, I come away feeling completely alive. It's the only word I can say. Whatever I came in with, I don't go out with. I don't even remember what I came in with. I don't remember what I was thinking about, how I was feeling. Um, I don't, if I had an argument, I don't remember I had the argument. Like it just flows through me. Why? Because I am moving. So my A is taken care of. I am releasing. So my L is taken care of, my loving heart. I am present. I have an intentional mind when I'm dancing because I have to focus on my steps and the movements. I definitely have a vital spirit. I feel very playful. I get to just do whatever I want when I'm out there. I'm in my passion. I love to dance. And I'm attuning. My E is also um, being honored because I'm dancing with people and I'm appreciating them and I'm attuning to them. And you have to attune to people when you dance, a couple's dancing. So all 5 of my zones are online. And that is why I leave feeling the way I feel. So the more Z's you capture, another one was trekking. I did a big trek with my family up Mount Kenya. Same thing. All my Z's were getting hit and I'm coming online. So I've had clients in my program, my ZOA program, who have, started painting, for example, or who started playing the piano, became quite good at it. But how they did it was what mattered too. They didn't just whip it out. It was really purposeful and they had a strong intention behind it, to rest and release and be present and be playful and appreciative. So it's not just about what you're doing, it's about how you're doing it and when you're doing it. That is what moves the needle. So I want to stop for a moment and I just want to see what's coming up for you. And if you have any questions or just any insights around where do you feel that you are? What do you neglect? What do you do most of? Um, what do you do well? What do you not do so well? Okay. Vital spirit. Okay, so play, passion, purpose sometimes gets neglected. Yeah. Intentional mind. Yep. Presence, goals, focus. Yeah, of course, that's a big one. With our overstimulated life, our brain is getting hijacked. So, an experience of rumination and restlessness. And the loving heart. Yeah, thank you for sharing that because this one's also very tender. And the loving heart, we can hold on to so much. Oh my gosh, we can hold on to pain. We can hold on to fear. We can hold on to resentments, anger. We can hold on to so many emotions that we don't know we're holding on to, and we don't know how to release them. So mood energy is really powerful because if you're holding on to that energy, it's going to come out in certain ways. It's going to affect your experience of life. So learning how to rest, release, and reflect in a certain way at the right times is really, really important. Developing rituals to support that for you. Yeah. Sleep. Thank you. Wow. Okay. Sleep is a huge one. And thank you for being so honest around that because, yes, we do not nourish our body the way that it needs to be nourished. these days with our overstimulated life. That is a big area that needs consistent focus and respect. Okay, beautiful. So we have about 10 minutes left, and I want to just tease out the intentional mind piece because this is what's connected to calmness and why you're here. And so um, I wanted us to kind of do a practice together and close out with an exercise that we can do and that you can go out into the world and do. So there's one strategy that is the strategy to master calm. One strategy. I wonder if anyone knows what it is. No? It's not a trick question, I promise. Your number one strategy to master calm is to slow down. And it's like, yeah, Alex, fine, slowing down. I've heard it before. We all need to slow down. But like, no, you really need to slow down. Choosing to slow down and then knowing how to slow down is important because that's where I think some of the problems come in. We don't know how to slow down. Like, what does that mean? So we have this autopilot inner life and we have this overstimulated outer life. And it's like, what do I do? Like, slow down. Okay, great. But then, like, what do I actually do in that experience? So I want to share with you a couple of things that you can do. So here are 3 reasons why we don't slow down. And the first thing is we don't know how. I just shared that. The second thing is interesting. We're afraid of what's going to come up when we slow down. And I've heard this one and I've experienced this one with many of my clients over and over and over again. Is what do we do? What's going to come up? All those emotions, all those thoughts like, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to feel that. No, thank you. No, thank you. Because I actually don't even know what to do with it. So why would I want that to come up? Let me just stay busy and stay, distracted and just pile it on because like, I don't know what to do with that. And the fear of not knowing what to do with that is really, really powerful and great because I actually don't even know if I can survive it. So the brain is really, really, really powerful. It knows exactly what it's doing to help you keep safe and alive all the time. The third thing is we fear losing out if we slow down. This is a big one too. There's a real risk, an inherent risk to slowing down. Because what if I lose out? What if I fall behind? What if so-and-so gets my job, instead of me if I slow down? What if I don't get invited to something? What if I don't get chosen? So I got to keep pace. I got to stay on top of it in order to, stay on the winning team. So important to notice these 3 things. Great. So I want to share a method, and I want to do it today with you that you can do any moment of the day. This is a fantastic method that helps you to get out of that fight, flight, or freeze state and come back into yourself and train yourself and your attention, right? Your attention to be present and focused and make wiser choices. So the first is stop. So I want us to just kind of sit back, and we'll take a few moments now to do this. So I want you to just sit back and maybe close your eyes. And I want you to actually stop moving, stop talking. You're not talking, I am, but I'm going to stop talking as well for a moment. And just stop moving. Relinquish all control of your limbs. And just for a moment, just stop and see what remains. What do you notice? So you're going to stop moving and noticing maybe your breath. All of a sudden, your breath comes into clear view. Wow, look at that. I have breath. You're moving in and out with your breath. Maybe you notice that. You have an in breath and an out breath. And if you're not closing your eyes, I want you to pay attention to your gaze. Maybe just open your eyes very gently and just notice. Soften your gaze, maybe focusing on one thing in front of you. And now, I want you to notice that you're sitting on a chair or a bed, or whatever you're sitting on. Just notice where you are. Take a moment to orient yourself in space. And now I want you to go into the body, and you can go in through the breath. So as you breathe in and you breathe out, do you hear any sounds? Do you feel any sensations in your body? Maybe you're paying attention now to your heartbeat. Is it beating fast, slow? Your chest area is expanding and contracting. Go down into your belly. Do you notice any sensations there? Sometimes we can feel a weight, a tightness. See if you can label and describe as many sensations as you can in the body. You can also pay attention to your throat. If it's constricted, continue breathing in and out. And what's trying to be communicated right now? Is anything coming forward? Now let's observe. O for observe. What's happening? What thoughts are running the show? What thoughts are appearing? What storylines? What emotions are coming up? Can you attach descriptive words? Maybe you're noticing some nervousness, some fluttering, pulsating, some fear. And what thoughts are there? can't do this. I'm not good enough. What if I don't do well? What if I fail? What if I don't make the right choice? What if I actually don't know anything? What if I get found out for being the fraud that I am? Just pay attention to that and then ask yourself, is it true? Whatever thought is presenting itself, is it true? More often than not, it's not true. And now with this new awareness, make a new choice. What do you need right now? What do you need to prioritize? You can bring your 5 Z's forward. Do you need to ask for help? You need to delegate? Do you need to remove yourself? Say no, say yes. You don't have to do things the same way that you did before. You can choose. Do you need to rest? Breathe more? Do you need to be alone? Write, sleep, go for a walk, eat, play, be in nature. There's so many things you can choose. Okay. So gently come back out. And this is your slow method. This is what you do. You stop, you listen, you observe, and wise choice. Make a wise choice. Stop, listen, you go into the body, observe what's happening, and then you make a choice, a wise choice. What do I need? This is your slow method. This is what you actually do when you slow down. So I'm going to stop and ask if anyone has any questions. We are just coming up to time, and I want to share a few things before we close out about how you can work with me if that's something that you feel called to do more work around reducing your stress. And my ZOA journey, my Zone of Aliveness journey, kicks off in September, on the 12th of September. And I would love to invite you into that journey. It's a 90-day journey, and you create your custom Zone of Aliveness roadmap using the 5 Z's. So we're going to move away from the 5 R's toward the 5 C's using the 5 Z's. That's what you're going to be doing. And it is going to be your roadmap. And it is a timeless roadmap that you can use for the rest of your life. It is brilliant, brilliant work. Starts on the 12th on Thursdays, consecutively over 12 weeks. We meet live virtually on Zoom. Plus, you'll also have some one-on-one time with me for personalized guidance, because I think that's always very important, and ongoing accountability in our community. So you will not be alone throughout those 12 weeks. You will have the support that you need. It's an intimate group. It's only 10 of us. I like to work in small groups. So we will be building a very, very powerful, beautiful community of support and of growth and of learning. And you really are going to come away without succumbing to stress. Stress will be happening all around you. The world will continue to do what it does. It will continue to be urgent. It will continue to be chaotic. That is none of our business. but you will be transforming your relationship with that urgency and chaos. And you are going to come away with a very, very powerful roadmap for what to focus on, what to choose, when to choose it, when to do it, and how to stick to it in your own way. So here's a code that you can use. If you want to scan, it'll take you to my website and you can book your slot now. If you know that you want to have a seat, I invite you. I'd love to welcome you. If you want to have a call, then I would absolutely welcome that as well. I'd love to chat more with you. And so here are the three things you're going to action today. You're going to apply your slow method, right? You're going to open an email. I'm going to send you an email after this with a special gift for showing up today. And you will have all the links in there as well to book with me. So don't worry if you're like, oh my God. I will have everything in a nice, neat little package for you to consider. But if you know you want to talk to me and you want to book a call, we can jump on and just use the scan code right now and book a call right away, and we will be chatting. So with this, I invite you all to connect with me, please. I'd love to see you on LinkedIn. I'd love to see you on Instagram and Facebook. Those are the three ways that you can connect with me online. You can always send me an email, alexandra@mindmoodalive.com, and my website, you can check me out more there. So at the very least, I would love to connect with you online. So please do reach out. And with that being said, I am officially closing out our time together. And I have been so thankful for this time. I've loved being here with you and sharing with you. And I hope that you have taken something away from today and that you feel that you have something you can action. Maybe we have. Is there anything final that anybody would like to share or comment on? You're welcome to share it out loud or in the chat. Oh, you're so welcome. Oh my gosh, yes. I appreciate an insightful conversation, and I've learned a lot, and I'm going to take this with me. And oh, and amazing, you're going to book a time with me. I'd love that. Please do. Please do. That is always a really, really way. Zero obligation. I'm not here to sell you anything. I just want you to feel supported. And in the spirit of having choice, I want you to feel like there's choice. And that's really what I'm here to offer, options and choice. So please don't feel any obligation to do anything, but know that I'm here to serve you. So thank you for that. And thank you. That's beautiful. I appreciate. Yeah, it's been a pleasure being here with you as well. So with that said, I am going to stop our share here, and I have loved this. Thank you so much, and sending you all a big hug and a big kiss. Thank you so much.